Welcome to the XS Racing Toybox Xiao attained it all. We are here live at the Cloverleaf, the proving grounds for any aspiring racer in the XS League. We have some fierce competition, the fiercest of which you can expect from our seated champion, Jeff Gordon, and two new faces to the scene, Xiao Man and Roxanne Wolf. Coming out of seemingly nowhere, these two have given the competition a run for their money, but the XS League is no stranger to surprises, so it's anyone's game. Let's go down to the field and tap into their cons.
If it weren't for his prominence in videos and voiceover, not to mention the omnipresence of his sponsors at the time, you'd think Jeff Gordon XS Racing had nothing to do with him and was just an optimistic take on futuristic racing. I don't remember 2012 looking anything like this. But what we have here is a quirky, yet surprisingly solid racing game, which is good because I was a big Jeff Gordon fan at the time, and that's the whole reason my parents got me this game. You start with 4 cars, but only the Rage JXS is consistent enough for the job if you're taking this seriously. We've only got 4 tracks to choose from, so we'll need to complete the championship to unlock the rest. You can compete against up to not 10, not 15, not 20, 39 other racers. 39! The first track barely even accommodates that many cars. So if you really want, you can always be in the thick of it, no matter where you stand in the race. We are already off to a good start here. The Cloverleaf is a pretty standard small oval track, so there's always going to be other cars for you to contend with if you crank up the number of opponents. The AI is pretty basic, following a predetermined path, but there's still potential for chaos if anyone gets into an altercation. So devoted are they to keep to the path that they can and will ram you if you're in the way. Forget clean racing, they are unconditionally spiteful. This track features an alternate path in the eponymous Cloverleaf, which auto-steers you through a speed booster. It's more time consuming than taking the turn, but you get launched out of there at basically top speed. You'll get a slower lap time, but think of it as an investment, especially since the AI are sporadically rubber bandy. They'll forcefully brake if they get ahead of you on lower difficulties, but on the higher difficulties, you can drive perfectly and still not even finish on the podium. You can most easily notice the difference on the menu screen. Listen to the car's engine power as I change the difficulty. And look at that speedometer, Jesus! They really hold back on easy. Even if I piggyback off a Cloverleaf boost, I can't match the speed and acceleration of the AI drivers. And the fastest lap time I can get on an empty circuit is 11.58 seconds with the Rage JXS. I went back and played against very hard AI and was just about able to win, mainly because of the other drivers getting stuck on the back straightaway after the Cloverleaf. And when I looked at the lap times, holy shit! That's impossible to do with any of these cars. I can explain away that 4-second lap time as glitchy, overly aggressive rubber banding, but it should not be possible for cars with less horsepower to get sub-11-second lap times. Maybe it's possible if you exploit a bug where the speed booster clips through the wall on turn 1, but that's exactly how these cars keep wiping out. And more often than not, all that happens is you lose control anyway, so it's not even worth exploiting. Besides, it doesn't explain the same thing happening on the other tracks. So the difficulty only changes how hard the AI cheats. Or maybe I'm missing something. Let's take a look at Jeff's racing school.
If it starts to go around on you, ease out of that throttle, turn back into it, and start to pick up that throttle smoothly again and gain control.
Honestly, he has some quality advice for racing. Being an experienced NASCAR driver, I'd expect nothing less of him. Too bad it's not going to do you any damn good in this game. The disconnect between his advice and the practical circumstances of the game is laughable. Fun as this game is, a racing sim it ain't. Responsive turning at impossibly high speeds, gliding cars, self-repairing cars. Man, they really had their hopes up for 2012, didn't they? Then again, the theming of this next track, Industrial Strength, is an acknowledgement that no matter how different things get, they'll always stay the same. I like this backdrop. It feels like it wouldn't be entirely out of place in the original Unreal Tournament. It's nice and colorful in spite of its setting, with an ever-present skyline out in the background. They saved generic dirt brown for when and where it would make sense. The game in general is very appealing to look at, and that extends to your car, just in case you haven't noticed how absolutely gorgeous these lighting effects are. Too bad they don't extend to the NPC cars. It's a small price to pay when you can have 39 of them to race against, though. The tailpipes being painted on instead of modeled on is adorable. Having less polygons to work with really forced them to get creative back then. The track layouts are pretty fun to drive on. This one has a pair of roughly 200-degree banked turns. You can adjust the steering before you start a race to make it more or less responsive, so naturally, I made it as responsive as it gets for this track. You almost never need to brake on any of these tracks as long as you adjust the steering accordingly. You can even plug in a controller for more precise steering, but you can only use the bumpers for the throttle and brakes, so you have no precision for either. But again, there's no need to brake, and there's seldom any reason to let go of the gas, so it's no big loss. And the physics are arcadey and forgiving enough that bumping or rubbing the walls usually isn't much of an issue anyway. And that's good, because as simple as the Pepsi 2000 is, you'd be amazed how hard it is to run this track without hitting any walls. You've got 2 long turns with plenty of room to move high or low to get some easy overtakes, and on the front straight, you can overtake from above. That's awesome! We're taking a page out of Hot Wheels' playbook. Though the product placement is especially blatant, especially when we drive through a Pepsi logo-shaped structure. Full disclosure, in case it wasn't obvious, I'm not getting any kickbacks from Pepsi, Fritos, 7-Eleven, or any other company or product seen in this video. That includes my car's sponsor livery, ASC Games, the company that published the game. In fact, they went defunct just 2 months after the game released. I wonder if they were counting on Jeff Gordon's branding to push sales and make a smash hit. But Jeff Gordon couldn't have been a cheap date, even with the financial backing from his sponsors, and the game obviously didn't do too well because there's barely any documentation about it online. The development company, Natsume, still operates to this day under Natsume Atari. Oh yeah, did I mention there's a version of this game for Game Boy Color? Now that's pathetic. Wait, people speedrun this game? Of course, since then, everyone learned their lesson, and never again did companies waste half their operating costs on celebrities or influential personalities, hoping said influencers would bring big bank by association. Because that totally wasn't going to blow up in their faces or anything. Now I gotta tell you, this game is fun and all, but if you're looking for high-speed motor mayhem, Roxy Raceway is the place to be. Sign up and be a winner! Nobody- wait. What? Roxy, I said no advertorial! The product placement proves to be a hindrance in this race because there's a jump that throws you into the Pepsi logo S-turn. You don't have a lot of control over your car in the air, so it's easy to glide straight into the first wall. Even the NPC drivers can't make it without hitting it. Never did it dawn on us that product placement would get so much worse and so much more intrusive in future games. But the 7-Eleven Spectacular, oh boy, this is spectacular alright. A race through an amusement park? Sign me up! Who cares if it's another oval? It's fun just for the visuals. Have you ever noticed how the more recent Forza Horizon games don't put a whole lot of emphasis on the festival aspect? The festival grounds don't really look like places you'd want to hang out. Well, this looks like somewhere I'd hang out. Imagine riding those rides while the racers fly by underneath you. And if that wasn't enough, there's an alternate route through the funhouse. It's a longer route, but there's a fun surprise waiting for you at the end of it, in the form of a turbo and a jump, sending you flying down the main straight and into the first turn I hope you're ready for. Oops, looks like you wiped out. So watch out for that. Now, as much as I'm using another car for the variety, you're really better off just sticking with a JXS if you're serious about winning. This car turns better, but it just isn't working out for me, which is ironic since it's supposed to have more speed and horsepower than the Rage JXS. I thought it would suit me well enough on the turns, but I overcorrected and made it a little oversteery. Well, at least you get a new color scheme to admire. If Ekans ever had a race car, this would be it. It's worth noting that while you can change cars at any time during the championship, you're locked into your sponsor and difficulty. So whatever color scheme your sponsor comes with, I hope you like it, because you're going to be stuck with it. At least you're not stuck with the car, because if you pick the Spectre, you've already lost. This thing is worthless, which only makes it all the more frustrating when it somehow still outpaces you when it's in the AI's hands. That's totally fair, right? I missed out on first place, but your standing in the championship depends on your cumulative earnings from the races. You don't need to finish first place every time, you just need to be better and more consistent than your competitors. The drawback is that if you come up short after all is said and done, you have to start all over again. Mercifully, you can save at any time, so if a race isn't going your way, just quit and try again, or set the game down and come back later. Now it's on to the first unlockable track, the Accelerator. Ironic name, there's no speed boosters. It's a pretty straightforward track. The only thing of note is the radioactive tunnel. Nothing special happens if you go in there. It's just a hard 90-degree turn that the NPCs always avoid. As should you. Every track has an intro video going over the finer points of the track and the best ways to handle them. Why isn't the tunnel mentioned in this one? Why is it even there? Then again, Jeff's pointers are a mix of helpful and straight up useless.
Watch out for the roads that are closed. They'll only lead you to a dead end, and the end of your race. Make sure you get up enough speed before taking the loop. And the rocky road surface could affect your tire adhesion, so watch your throttle.
Did he even play this game? Did he just assume everything would work like it does in real life? You know, where we have flying, self-healing cars apparently? I don't know, I'm getting some mixed signals here. I'm starting to wonder exactly how much involvement he even had with this game. Was it his idea to set it in the year 2012? Unreal Tournament is set in the year 2341, which feels like a better fit for what they're going for here. Hell, it's so futuristic that my RTX 2080 Super can't run it properly. Well, guess what? What you're seeing is footage of this game running natively on Windows 10. I pulled it off with a wrapper called DG Voodoo 2. If you're trying to run old games that are reliant on 3DFX or older versions of DirectX, this may be your saving grace. I'll link it in the description. The only drawback is I'm missing out on a little bit of eye candy in the lighting, since some of these signs are supposed to be lit up and glowing. But it doesn't bother me that much, and most importantly, I can run the game. So I'll take what I can get. I may have missed some setting or another in DG Voodoo's control panel, I don't know. But I will say, I love how when the AI takes control of your car after finishing a race, it straight up violates the laws of physics that the finish line is on a jump. How does that even happen? The Frito Twister is another winter wonderland, because that makes thematic sense? Fritos are a winter snack? I don't get it. It made sense with Pepsi, but this is a little random. Then again, no one thinks of theme parks when they think of 7-Elevens, so they got me there. Jeff Gordon warns you,
Watch out for the car next to you. Anyone can lose control on the ice.
but that's not a mechanic. The other racers can wipe out at any time for any reason. But not you, mercifully. That would piss me off. The main gimmick of this track is the choice between taking the turn on the right or going left for the loop. The loop basically functions as a speed booster, making it perfect for overtaking. But if you hit another car, you lose all that momentum, so you need to plan it carefully. Not much else to say about this one, it speaks for itself. So while we're here, let's talk about the music. You've been hearing some of the music tracks in the background of the video, and my god does it go hard. Any track can play on any track. Wait. Any song can play on any racetrack, and while they all have names, none of them are labeled in the files. All you get is the in-game credit screen pointing to the names of the songs and the composers: Paul Trust, Gareth Williams, Joe Farina, and Arthur Levinson. As for the list they provide, I don't get it. Are these all in order? I don't know. They're just labeled as track 2, track 3, etc. in the files. But the good news is they're all available on the disc as Redbook audio files, making them fairly easy to extract with something like iTunes. Alright, next track. Racetrack, not... Ugh. Let's give Roxy a turn. I know I said the other cars aren't worth using, but it never pays to bet against Roxy. She'll find a way.
Want an autograph?
This is the Gambler, the end result of turning the Las Vegas Strip into a racetrack. Right off the bat, you've got a choice of left or right, and while the other drivers often take different paths on other tracks when the option is there, here they always go left, unless they're pushed to the right. And even then, they could be stubborn about taking that left. Then you got another fork, through the giant clown head, or directly onto the main straight. The AI always ignore the clown. And that middle intersection is exactly as hazardous as it looks. The ramps only do so much to regulate traffic. But since the AI always follow the same path, it's not nearly as chaotic as it could be. Which is a shame, because that was the whole selling point of the track.
The center of the track will get crazy. Cars can come from 6 different directions.
I don't know why they nerfed it. Was it too frustrating in playtesting? Either way, going right is more peaceful, but you increase the odds of hitting cross-traffic. It's unlikely, but not impossible. You may not hit anyone, but you can expect a lot of close calls. Whoa! Cutting it close there, Rox. If you go through the clown head, your car enters temporal phase mode. Basically, you no-clip through the other cars for a little while, so you can take an alternate line. Hey, steady, Rox. This ain't a go-kart you're driving, it likes to oversteer. You gotta be more gentle with the steering. You gotta...
got all day.
What are you doing? Why are you slowing down? Oh, what?
If I remember correctly.
What are you doing? Oh, I see. She's taking advantage of the fact that there are no checkpoints on this track, so you can just cheat and skip half of it.
Cheating.
I was really smug when I found that as a kid. Did this really never occur to them? That's some pretty silly oversight. Nope, there she goes again.
I am the best.
Maybe it's just as well the game is single player only. But can you imagine 40 human players on this one track? Now that would be nuts. This track is also a good showcase of the sound design, when you can hear it. Thankfully, you have a lot of customization over the sound settings, so if you don't want the engine and 2-second tire screeching loop drowning everything out, you could be treated to a surprisingly vast array of sound design. And when I say vast, I mean there's really not a lot. On 95% of these courses, there is no ambience to be had, aside from the sound of the cars and the music. Some of these are so easy to miss, I'm surprised they even went through the effort. Here's a small sampling of the more notable ones. On occasion, you'll even hear from Jeff Gordon himself, like if someone crashes. He'll also chime in with words of encouragement.
Do it. Go for it. I know you can do it.
Backseating.
Follow them and then get them. Breathe. Relax. Take it easy.
And commenting on your performance.
That's your fastest lap. You really busted that lap. That's all right. Gather back up and try it again next time. You've done it. You've won.
82 voice lines, some of which are duplicates of varying quality, and yet his commentary is about as worthwhile as the crew chief in Daytona USA 2. Anyway, the rubber banding obviously has its limits, since Roxy's still able...
Loser!
Steady, Rox. Still able to finish well ahead of second place. And now that I'm rewatching the footage, can we get an instant replay of that crash? The jury's out on whose fault this was, but I didn't know the XS Racing League had a space program. Victory at all costs, I guess. Classic Roxy.
I'm sorry.
He'll be fine. There's no reason not to treat the AI with disdain anyway. They'd do the same to you given the chance. Besides, that crazy airtime is a great segue into the next track, the drop zone. What we have here is a mine converted into a racetrack. Pretty basic layout. You get 3 tight upward slope turns that lead you to the back straightaway, and the main gimmick, 3 big jumps. They obviously wanted to hammer home the flying cars with this track. It's just big jumps for the sake of big jumps. Although unlike Hot Wheels mechanics, where you retain full steering as you glide, you get very little control while in the air in this game. And that's pretty much all I have to say about the drop zone. It's simple and gimmicky, but it's a fun gimmick. This track is unrivaled in sheer verticality, and I'm glad they included at least one track like this. We have flying cars, don't we? Well, let's make them fucking fly. That's a mindset I can get behind. Neon Canyon Run is the most technical track of the bunch. It's a very compact track with tight turns and washboard jumps. It's a track that feels more claustrophobic than it actually is. Even Industrial Strength didn't have it this bad. But Industrial Strength is a straightforward track that doesn't require as much tight maneuvering as this one. The turns are tighter and there's more of them closer together. If you didn't loosen up your steering, you're gonna struggle to avoid hitting the walls on this one. In fact, if you want to keep up the pace, that's pretty much inevitable. Some of the jumps practically throw you into the walls. This is a track where the Raptor would actually do okay since it likes to turn. The Spectre would be good in theory since it has the most responsive turning of the bunch, but forget it, it's too slow. So tighten up that steering and slide your way to victory. And don't feel bad about hitting the walls. The NPCs do it too, on this track and many others. You can see this canyon is home to a business district, because where better to incorporate than inside a canyon? Clearly these noisy races don't bother them any. Maybe the buildings are soundproofed. Maybe it's good for business to have a racetrack winding through, if a bit impractical. And what's that? Circuitry in the canyon walls? You think corporations would set up shop in the Grand Canyon and run electricity and circuitry through the rock to power their operations? I don't know. But we've got one track left to finish the season. Future City. It's a pretty impressive sight when you're not staring at these generic, boring-ass tunnels. The problem is that these tunnels make up 90% of the track. This track only has a couple outdoor points of interest, including a loop that goes around the front straight. That is cool. Otherwise, it's just tunnels that are probably there to hide the low draw distance. For a game about the future, they sure couldn't escape the trappings of then modern software and hardware and technical limitations. Every time the game changes or replays songs, it locks up for half a second to load it. This is a known issue, and their only solution is to put up or shut the music up. And yes, it still happens on modern hardware. There's nothing DG Voodoo can do to fix that. The troubleshooting FAQ is pretty funny to read. Alt-tabbing or even using the mouse can make the game go fucky-wucky. Their solution? Don't alt-tab or use the mouse. Though I couldn't find anything about how to fix this track being aesthetically boring. This is supposed to be Future City? Is this the best they could do? The Accelerator was mostly tunnels, and even that had more visual appeal. Then again, they were kind of overselling things with the commercial.
Activate.
Okay, listen. At hairpin turn 6, keep it at 250 to slingshot you onto the straightaway. We'll see what happens. The loop can get real tricky, so hold your line when you're upside down. And remember, after you hit the jump, ease off the air brake. When you're pulling 5G, handles like a jet.
Race without limits.
Did I mention the oncoming traffic?
That commercial is so 90s. When you beat the championship, you move on to Season 2, and you get a new car. And a warning.
Got your own car, huh? See you on the track.
Well, apart from handling, the X-Wave seems to be a straight upgrade. But the handling doesn't matter, so... Season 2 has you running through all those tracks again, except Jeff Gordon is in the mix now. His AI is higher than the other opponents, making him a formidable rival. In theory. I was playing on medium, so he was basically a non-factor in my playthrough. But trust me, on hard difficulty, count on him being a pain in your ass. On top of that, he taunts you while he's nearby.
In your dreams. Here I come. I've got you in my sights.
That trash talk is so beneath us, isn't it, Roxy?
You might as well give up.
Anyway, going through these races all over again is a little anticlimactic, but at least you get a new car. With glitchy audio when it takes a jump. It seems to be a problem exclusive to the cars with the deeper sounding engines. Really, the technical aspects are all over the place in this game. As much as you get these glitches, you also have some neat features like the hood cam showing the damage to your car. But then you have to dock points again because the bumper cam is just the hood cam without the hood. Not to mention there's no way to look behind you, so you can't see any incoming opponents. You have to rely on the HUD to keep track of that. There's a couple cheats in this game. One of them lets you use Jeff Gordon's livery. There's also a cheat for reckless mode and no clipping, but neither of them seem to do anything. The game acknowledged the cheats being input, but nothing seemed to happen. Maybe I'm just missing something. Hell, there's even a cheat for expert difficulty if you're feeling daring, if it works. I'm surprised Jeff's car is just plain red in this game, though. At least they redid the texture to distinguish it from the default Rage JXS, but when are you ever going to see the front of the car? And furthermore, why did they change the XS racing livery for the Rage JXS from this to this? The old one was better. Well, you've seen Season 1, so you've seen Season 2. I'll spare you the rest of this.
This is why we call it the Xiao sports fans. We knew this guy could shake things up, and he is just running away with it. This tag team of Xiao Xiao Man and Roxanne Wolf is exactly why we do not write off newcomers. But I gotta tell you folks, Jeff Gordon just isn't bringing his A game tonight. But he's guaranteed a seat in the final event, so let's see if he can bring it back here. Ladies and gentlemen, Pepsi Planet!
It all comes down to this. New car, new track, one objective. Beat Jeff Gordon. It doesn't matter how poorly he did in Season 2, he's seeded for the finale. This is where you really appreciate what a tough opponent he is in this game. Oh sure, I overtook him easily enough, but he is on my ass the whole time. I gotta do whatever I can to keep him behind me, and if he retakes the lead, I gotta take it back. Good thing this new car, the Wraith, is the most busted ass car in the whole game, cause you're gonna need it. Lucky for me, he just took the hairpin too fast, allowing me to maintain the lead. That hairpin is fucking devious. Even with tight steering, it's a pain to navigate. He wasn't kidding when he said it's the most important turn on the whole track. It can make or break your race. What we have here is basically Epcot's World Showcase if it were a Pepsi-sponsored racetrack. From China to Egypt, the Sphinx watches us pass into, Aztec ruins or something? Machu Picchu? I don't know. Then the main straight takes you through a hairpin under the Eiffel Tower and into the Arc de Triomphe. Then we get some vague mountainous region that's probably the Pacific Northwest or something. And then a colorful cave. No time to admire the sights though. Jeff Gordon is ready to capitalize on any mistake. But he still sucks at the hairpins, so that's one less thing to worry about. Incidentally, if you do another championship after beating this one, you keep the unlockable cars. Even with 39 opponents on very hard, this game is piss easy with the Wraith. And it served me well here. In the end, I come out on top, but goddamn did he make me work for it. Now you can go back and race against 39 drivers on this track instead of one. Awesome. Overall, this is a pretty solid game that I can still enjoy to this day. Jeff Gordon is pretty tacked on, but it doesn't matter much. The sense of speed is great, the tracks are reasonably varied and fun to drive on, and the car selection is kind of a joke. Whatever, I had fun with it. That's all that matters to me. All we need now is multiplayer for this game and we'll be good to go. Maybe someday. For now, to the victor go the spoils.
I have never seen anything like this, sports fans. We have a new champion. Oh, make that 2 champions, folks. It's not every day a tag team wins the day. Your champions today, Xiao Man and Roxanne Wall. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the XS Racing Toybox Xiao-vitational. Tune in next time for the Last Ace Invitational, where twisted metal meets anime and puns. I cannot believe I'm being paid to say this. Where Tari, Opus, a subject of the British Empire, and Illogical Jason will battle it out for the title of the Last Ace Standing. And it's all right here in the XS Racing League. See you next time, sports fans.